Hey folks, my guest today is Dmitry Pavlov. He's the founder and CEO of Stitch Insights, a Silicon Valley deep learning pioneer in predictive and consumer insights. He's a guest speaker on emerging tech trends, cross-functional team building, and science in marketing. Dmitry, you ready to take us to the top?
Been ready for a while. Let's go.
Nice. So, hey, last time we spoke, man, it was back sort of middle of COVID. Give everyone a quick reminder. What are customers paying you for?
Yeah, for sure. So we're creating ideal experiences for consumer brands and helping them understand how their customers think and feel against their competitors in their entire category. And so we're charging at a base $10,000 a month per channel. Things like Amazon is a channel or an internal support request channel, or like Twitter is another channel. And so we've been working with predictive innovation teams, sustainability teams across luxury groups, fashion retailers, leading consumer electronics companies, and essentially understanding, working with their predictive innovation teams and sustainability teams and e-commerce teams, helping them really measure at a really granular level what their customers care about at the attribute level of each product versus their competitors. So they can actually start measuring what is the size of the opportunity in the entire market for their products, for their consumer segments. Basically, is there a consumer segment that's really, really happy with a dimension of a product, how it's performing? Or is there a consumer segment that really hates a specific dimension of a product your competitor has that maybe you have a really huge opportunity to hit on?
10K per month per channel is significantly different than I think when we last spoke. You had, I think, 9 customers paying on average sort of a grand a month. So have you really moved up market intentionally?
Oh yeah, we've completely shifted sort of the kind of the entire go-to-market strategy. What we've realized is basically, and before it was really like MRR and really early POC revenue that we had. Now we have actual ARR revenue. We're actually nearing a little over 1 million ARR this coming year. And so,
What does that mean? You mean like you take this month's revenue times 12?
No, we actually have some new engagements coming in. So we have a little less than 10 customers at this point. Basically, we have now engagements that are annual contracts as opposed to just a month by month or a POC, just non-recurring revenue contracts. And so we've switched gears completely and kind of how we're monetizing this a little bit.
Well, so help me understand. So you in 2020, you said you had 9 customers. So you still have 9 customers today, but they're different customers and paying you way more. Is that right?
We were running POCs in 2020 with a number of folks like Sephora's of the world, trying to understand basically what we are deploying and what we are solving for them. And what we realized is really where the real pain point is across all of these brands is they're running surveys on all of their customers. But what they're not doing is they're not surveying all of their competitors' customers at that same scale. So when they make product changes or estimate market opportunity, they're really only estimating in a bubble, in a vacuum. They're estimating what they're doing. What we realized is by actually looking at the external data, we can actually measure the size of the opportunities for these brands. And what we found is who specifically is using these insights. So what we were initially doing is just exploring with
Got it. So a year ago, those 9 were not customers; they were pilots, and so now today you have 9 fully onboarded paying customers, and it's true ARR.
We have under 10. We'll have over 10 fully true ARR customers by early this coming year. Yeah, we have a number
I see.
for annual agreements.
I see. So what when you just look at booked revenue today, what would you say MRR is?
We're sharing ARR essentially. So we're gearing up for our Series A this coming year in the new year. So we're basically our target is a little over 1.3 million in ARR is basically from our existing contracts and their expansion revenue that's coming in from those contracts.
When do you want to hit 1.3 a year in like an ARR?
Yes, correct. And what we realized
when do you want to hit that?
When? Probably before Q2 of this coming year.
Okay, so 1.3 in ARR calculated by that month's revenue times 12 forward looking would mean you need about $110,000 a month in revenue to get 1.3 in ARR. So you think by Q1 of next year, before your Series A, you'll break $110,000 a month in revenue?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And where are you today?
And so we're on our way to that today. We're not there yet, but we have really, really large contracts coming in right now. And what we've realized is there's expansion revenue with our software, essentially where we are sharing these insights with one team, like the predictive innovation team.
Yeah, Dmitry, sorry, I totally get all that. Like I understand the upselling. I'm just trying to get a sense of how much you have to grow between now and your Series A to hit that mark. So are you not sharing on purpose sort of revenue today, or if not, like where are you? What's the range?
Yeah, so we're actually right in the middle of a fundraise right now of a small like seed plus round. So we're not
Okay.
sharing externally those numbers, but it's well on the way to it.
Got it. So, I mean, so let's put a big range on it. Can we say you're above 50 grand a month in revenue right now?
I could do well, I could tell you that we're under 700,000 ARR still.
And you're calculating ARR, we're taking last month's revenue times 12, right?
Annual recurring. Yeah. It's anything that's signed, contracted for recurring revenue moving forward from 2020 or 2021 on.
Got it. Still a little confusing, but we'll move on so we can learn other stuff. Got it. So signing enterprise accounts. You mentioned seed plus. Does that mean you already raised a seed? Did you raise a seed earlier?
There's not really a name for this round. Yeah, we raised a small chunk the previous year. We raised a little over $100,000, basically just to help us commercialize some of this platform. And we've used that essentially to figure out what is this platform that we can start expanding out.
And that was in 2018. You raised the pre-seed.
That was about a year and a half ago. I'm
Okay.
getting lost in what year we're in now, honestly.
Okay. So 110 and sort of like early round, and you're closing sort of a seed plus right now. How much are you looking to raise right now?
About 3 million is what we're looking at, and we already have some really great investors that we're working with right now, in middle of the conversation with or so.
Why do you need to raise right now? Like why do you have to, have that kind of money to grow?
Yeah, so I've actually this past year I've just switched gears from anything other than sales, and I've had the opportunity to speak with dozens and dozens of CDOs, CTOs, CSOs, CMOs, CEOs across these Fortune 100 brands. And I've literally spoken with 30 or 40 like Fortune 100 C-level executives. And what I found is that we can launch this pretty easily because we are offering something really different than what's in the market. We're not looking at sentiment. We're not looking at overall what's happening for your overall brand. We're understanding each individual dimension, what matters. And I've been able to get and we have a new subscription process that we go through. It's an annual agreement that has a 30-day trial that's attached to an annual agreement already. And so because of all these conversations and this easy piloting process, I've actually created a pipeline of way too many active engagements, basically, that I'm realizing we can hit all these if we have additional revenue, if we have additional funding. And
why?
so,
Why can't you just go close them now and get them to pay up front and use that money to drive growth?
So we will potentially do that starting next year is to leverage the money up front. The easiest way has been to say, we give you, like, for $10,000, we'll give you a snapshot analysis of one of your products against a competitive category set. And then at the end of that month, it turns on into a $10,000 a month subscription. And then we start expanding to additional channels. So that process to get paid like large amounts from these brands is a longer process. And so right now we're not getting enough revenue in to catch essentially all the opportunities that are coming in. So we're trying to really accelerate this.
On the 3 million now, what valuation are you targeting?
Yeah, so that's also, we're not sharing that exactly. We raised under $4 million valuation previously, and we're up ahead of that now, basically.
Mm-hmm. How much, I guess, what's a range of how much percent of the company do you think you'll have to sell to raise 3 million? We're talking like 10 to 20, the standard stuff, 10 to 20%?
Probably less than that. So one of the investors is with the SPV, and they're actually like a very, very, very friendly terms so far.
So you're looking at debt. You're looking at debt or equity?
Safe. We're looking at a safe.
Okay. You said the one of the partners is that SVB?
SPV, like a special purpose vehicle that.
Oh, SPV. I thought you said Silicon Valley Bank. Got it. Okay. So got it. So you're raising 3 million at greater than a 30 million valuation, so you can sell less than 10% of the business. That would be a great deal for you. That's what you're targeting.
Yes, basically.
Mm-hmm. And I guess why, if you're planning to go raise a big round, like when you hit the 1.3 ARR mark in Q1, like why spend a bunch of time right now trying to raise 3 million?
Well, actually, we got preemptively reached out to by a number of investors. I was not going out and raising right now. I thought, actually, let's just focus on these contracts, get them to expanded revenue between each contract, and then next year go out and raise a larger round. But the advice has been, we can bring on additional folks. I can bring on sales support. I'm doing sales myself right now. Like, I can bring on an SDR.
How many are on the team right now?
It's essentially we have folks that are part-time and full-time. We essentially have the same team that we started with still, and it's just
Dmitriy,
not.
we don't know how many is that? How many full-time
we have 9 people still, basically the same participating folks that were part-time and full-time. And what we started doing is bringing on some of those folks full time, but that's still not enough capacity.
So how many right now are full time?
Full time, we have literally about 3 full time right now, and by the end of November, we'll likely have probably 6 or 7 full time.
So I guess what happened, because like back in April, I mean, obviously COVID hit, but like in April last year, you told me you had 6 full-time employees. Did you let 3 people go?
No, we built out the platform. What we were building is data pipelines, and we were engineering these flows. And now these systems work relatively hands off. So the pilots and the subscriptions that we're launching are through channels that we already have full analysis of. So we're just deploying our platform right now. So there's zero development happening basically at this point. So
you let 3 engineers grow basically.
They're actually, so one of my head data scientists just started his own company also, and he's just part-time helping us now basically. But my take is, up until we need development time, like we don't need to develop anything else new up until after November basically, and we're deploying just with our existing platform. So we're focusing on sales 100%, and so I need salespeople and I need like support folks.
Got it. Interesting. How do you like manage dilution? I mean, this is a lot of capital in an early stage. You don't want to, blink and only own 20% of the business.
No, for sure. I mean, I honestly, dilution is like, it's important, and I don't want to kind of dilute myself too much. But, if the value that the investors, et cetera, bring in is more than what we're giving up, I'm happy with that. Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you have co-founders?
I have a co-founding team. I was the original founder. By the time I realized what this market can look like, and by the time we became a portfolio company of One Valley, previously a GSV, that's when I realized, we actually have a much larger technology play. And that's when I brought on board Dr. Johannes Eichstadt, Dr. Andrew Schwartz. And since, by the way, I think I've mentioned that Johannes is now at Stanford's Human Artificial Intelligence Lab at the tip of the spear for linguistic and AI research. And that's actually been really, really useful for us to really deal with these CTOs and CDOs, because they're really actually excited about these.
Do you pay him a bunch of money?
Johannes, he got paid a ton of money to help develop these systems. He's now basically
from you paid him that.
We actually were the founding. So we put in money ourselves. We put in about $250,000 from the founding team to develop these things. And
a bunch of that went to this doctor that's teaching at Stanford.
Johannes was also one of the folks of the founding team that put money in originally. He himself did not take a salary for the first year and a half. And they actually had like a $3.5 million non-dilutive government grant to help develop this technology. So we took that open source tech that Johannes and Andy created and created a proprietary version, commercial application. And they basically put in all of their sweat equity and additional money in there.
So how many founders are there then? 3?
So myself and two co-founding teams.
Did you split a third, or no?
No. They came in once we already had a product. They're really what they're adding to this is technology that really separates us from anything else.
Got it. So you still own the majority of the business, more than 50%.
For sure. Yeah.
I see. Okay, cool. Very cool. What else? Anything I'm missing before we wrap up?
So what I found is honestly that there's a lot of really interesting shifts going on right now, right, in the industry, and I'm really excited about that it's being recognized by these brands. So all these brands have been talking about, we really care about customers. We really want to focus on what customers care about. But what I found is that really none of them have the resources or tools to look at all of their customer feedback. They actually don't know what all of their customers care about. And on top of that, they have no idea what all their competitors' customers care about. They're not looking at any of that. And I think that's such a huge missed opportunity for folks to, not just for the brands, but for customers, to have companies really listen to them and start fixing stuff. And so that's where we're kind of trying to wedge ourselves in, is to really help these brands understand what are all the things that are top of mind, really the most important things to your customers to drive loyalty and adoption and to drive sustainability. And we're working with these luxury brands that are building multi-billion-dollar strategies to, we have sustainability initiatives. We want to fix animal welfare and carbon emissions, but they don't know what about animal welfare, what about carbon emissions is important. Do their customers want more sustainable leather wristwatches for the animal welfare? Do they want plastics that are more sustainable, right? They don't actually know. They're just moving on all these things. And where we're coming in is we're actually measuring across all their maisons, across all their brands, what are those things that matter to your customers the most? What will move the needle to your customers on sustainability? And then after you launch these initiatives, what of those things have impacted you positively? Have you increased sales because of these changes? And have you increased over the category? Or has the category itself shifted and you just moved it to category? These brands are blind in this space right now. They think they're performing well or underperforming, and they're not really taking into account the whole thing. And so we now finally have tools to look at all this massive data. And I'm just really excited that now it's actually getting recognized by these brands. And I don't know if it's a shift of COVID or just AI is becoming more understood in general, but it's such a great trend. I'm really excited about it.
We'll see what moves you make next. In the meantime, let's wrap up with the famous five. Number one, favorite business book.
Favorite business book. Oh man, Gilgamesh is an interesting book.
Number two, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
Yeah, since I read Bob Iger's book, Right of a Lifetime, I think I've been following him closely. It's been really interesting. Yeah.
Number three, what's your favorite online tool for building your business?
Honestly, like Google Slides have been really awesome.
Number four, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
At least 7.5. Once in a while, I get like 3 hours just if I'm up all night, but then I'll sleep in later.
And what's your situation, Dmitry? You're married, single, kids?
No kids, not married.
And how old are you?
I'm 34, I think.
34. Last question. Something you wish you knew when you were 20.
Oh man, I was 20 to learn how to prioritize things correctly and to prioritize experiences and things that shift your perspective more, because that's really how you grow, right? So that new experiences like traveling, like reading new authors, like mentors, like those things really that shift your perspective is kind of that the most important thing to really prioritize, I think.
Guys, Stitched Insights, founded in 2018, finally helping large luxury brands understand what their customers really want. Customer feedback. They have 9 paying customers today. Call it $5,000-$6,000 a month in terms of ARPU. So flirting with call it $40,000-$50,000 a month. Hoping to break the $1.3 million ARR mark by Q1 22. So they go out and do another raise. They're currently raising call it $3 million. We'll see what happens there. They raised $110,000 back last year in the middle of the pandemic at a $4 million valuation. Team of 3 building this bad boy out. He's looking to hire sales folks. Reach out if you're interested. Dmitry, thanks for taking us to the top.
Please. Awesome. Thanks, Nathan.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers. They try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.